Maybe it's a "Hey stranger," or a "Been thinking about you lately." Suddenly your heart races, your fingers hover above your phone. That flood of memories hits you like a wave. How he made you laugh, how he made you feel, how you wished things had ended differently. For a moment you think, maybe this is it, maybe he realized what he lost. But this moment right here, the moment he reaches out, is where most women make the biggest mistake of all. They respond too quickly. They respond too emotionally. They respond without asking themselves, why now? What does he want? What's changed? You see, when someone you cared deeply about suddenly reappears, your heart wants to celebrate. You crave closure. You want connection. You want it to mean something. So you jump in with excitement. You think, maybe this is fate giving us another shot. And without even knowing it, you slip into an emotional trance that blinds you from one critical truth. Just because he reached out doesn't mean he's ready. It doesn't mean he's changed. And it certainly doesn't mean he deserves access to your heart again. Here's the truth. Reaching out is easy. Showing up consistently is not. That message he sent, it might have taken him 15 seconds. It might have come from loneliness, from guilt, from boredom, or maybe even from a moment of weakness when he saw your photo pop up and remembered the warmth he lost. But what's hard, what's real, is consistent action, effort over time, showing up when it's inconvenient, changing the behavior that broke your connection in the first place, and this is where most women fall into the trap. They reward the reach out. They treat it like a breakthrough, when in fact it might be nothing more than a flicker of temporary interest. They open the door again too quickly, thinking, this time it'll be different. When there's been no conversation about what went wrong, no apology, no sign of real growth. What you have to understand is this: when you immediately respond with warmth, availability, or excitement, you send a powerful message. You tell him that he can walk back into your life without doing any work, that he can take his time, disappear, and reappear, and you'll still be there. And if a man knows he can have you without effort, why would he ever choose to change? If he's not coming with clarity, consistency, and commitment, then he's not coming with anything you need. Now, I'm not saying ignore him out of spite. I'm saying pause, reflect, breathe, ask yourself, has he taken ownership for the past? Has he shown evidence of change? Not promises, but proof. Is he reaching out from a place of respect and sincerity, or just curiosity and convenience? This is where your power lies. Your power is not in ignoring him to hurt him. Your power is in responding like the "Hi, Al, you woman you are." A woman who doesn't rush to reopen a door just because someone knocked. A woman who protects her peace, her heart, and her energy like the treasures they are. You can say, "It's good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well." You can be kind but firm. You can hold the conversation at surface level until he proves depth. You can say, "If you're reaching out because there's something meaningful on your heart, I'm open to that conversation, but I'm not interested in going back to a dynamic that didn't serve me." This doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. Remember, a man values what he earns, not what he's handed. And if he really cares, if he truly regrets losing you, he'll rise to meet your standard. He won't get defensive. He won't disappear again. He'll prove, not just say, that he's serious. But if he's only here to get a hit of attention or soothe his guilt, your boundaries will be the filter that exposes that. So next time he finally reaches out, don't make the mistake of reacting from emotion. Stand still. Let clarity speak louder than chemistry. Let your growth speak louder than your memories. And let him see that the woman he left is no longer waiting. She's evolving. Because love isn't proven by who reaches out. It's proven by who's willing to stay, to grow, and to earn a place in your life again. Hold your standard. That's your power. When he reaches out after silence or distance, the first thing that floods your mind isn't logic, it's emotion. You remember the smiles, the warmth of his voice, the way he used to hold you. For a moment, that one message feels like a rescue, like the ending to a love story you've been aching for. But here is the hard truth. If you respond to emotion before you evaluate the evidence, you risk walking straight back into the pain you've just healed from. You cannot build your future on feelings that have no foundation. And you cannot trust someone who hasn't shown you, clearly and consistently, that he's worth trusting again. Emotion is powerful. It's why you miss him at 2 a.m. It's why your stomach flips when his name lights up your screen. But emotion is not a roadmap. Emotion is not clarity. Emotion is simply your body remembering a connection that once meant something. That doesn't mean it still does. What matters now is evidence. What has he shown you since the last time you spoke? Has he taken accountability for what went wrong? Has he changed the patterns that caused distance? Has he stepped up, not just with words, but with sustained, thoughtful actions? Because if all you've received is a vague message, a late night I miss you, or a casual check-in without depth, you're not looking at real evidence of change. You're looking at emotional bait, and that bait is dangerous if you're hungry for connection. When someone returns, don't just listen to what they say. Watch how they show up. Does his behavior now align with the man you deserve? Or is he simply replaying the old script, hoping you'll give him the same role in your life again, without doing any of the work? You owe it to yourself to ask hard questions, not out of fear, but out of self-respect. Has he taken initiative, or is he waiting for you to do the emotional labor? Is he consistent in his communication, or does he disappear again the moment you ask for more? Is he pursuing you with purpose, or just responding to his own emotional convenience? This is the difference between a man who's missing you and a man who's ready for you. Missing you requires no effort. It's a feeling. It's fleeting. Being ready for you requires growth. It means he's confronted his past, he's worked through his patterns, and he's showing up with intentionality, not impulse. Too often, women confuse emotional intensity with emotional intimacy. Just because he feels strongly doesn't mean he can love you wisely. Just because he regrets losing you doesn't mean he's prepared to hold you in the way you need. And if you let emotion guide you without holding it up to evidence, you risk being swept up in a cycle where the connection feels magnetic, but the foundation is missing. The truth is, love should not be proven by who feels the most. It should be proven by who shows up the best. If his actions don't match his claims, if his words are not followed by effort, if his re-entry into your life feels like a rush instead of a rebuild, pause. You're not heartless for wanting proof. You're not cold for needing consistency. You're wise for protecting the life you've rebuilt without him, because the version of you who healed, who cried, who moved on, that woman deserves more than recycled promises. She deserves evidence, not emotion dressed up as romance. Let your standard be simple. Don't trust feelings, trust patterns. Don't accept apologies. Look for accountability. Don't mistake comfort for compatibility. The man who's ready won't just tell you. He'll show you. He won't ask you to relive old pain. He'll offer a new peace. He won't rush back in for validation. He'll come forward with vision. So when he finally reaches out, ask yourself one question. Has he earned a seat at the table of the woman I am today? If the answer is no, then protect your peace and let go of the illusion. If the answer is yes, then move slowly. Watch closely. Let him earn your trust one choice at a time. Because real love is never just about emotion. It's about the evidence that love is being built, not borrowed from the past. Stand firm. Ask for proof. You don't need another high. You need someone who can stand in the light and hold you with both hands open, because he's ready, not just nostalgic. When a man who once walked away finally reaches out again, there's a silent assumption built into his message. He believes you're still the same woman he left behind, the same heart, the same feelings, the same version of you that might still be waiting, hoping, wondering. But what he doesn't realize is that time has moved forward, pain has shaped you, healing has redefined you, and growth has built a stronger, wiser, more self-respecting version of the woman he once knew. This is your power. You are no longer her, and that truth changes everything. You don't have to prove anything to him. You don't need to show him how you've changed. The shift is already inside you, and it will speak without explanation. The way you pause before replying, the way you set boundaries, the way you no longer crumble at breadcrumbs, the way you protect your peace without apology. When you were with him before, you may have accepted less than you deserved. You may have settled for inconsistency, for confusion, for excuses dressed up as effort. You may have believed that love meant waiting, fixing, or tolerating, and you may have thought that if you just loved him hard enough, he would finally see your worth. But now you know better. You've learned that your worth isn't something he discovers, it's something you declare. You've realized that love isn't about proving loyalty to someone who doesn't show up for you. It's about choosing yourself again and again until the right one chooses you in return, with clarity, not chaos. So when he comes back, understand this, his memory is outdated. He's chasing a version of you that no longer exists. And your job is not to become her again. Your job is to honor who you've become in her place. He might expect you to be overly excited, to answer right away, to fall back into old patterns. But this time you lead the energy. You hold your power. You don't lean forward. You let him reach, stretch, and earn the right to even speak to the new you. Because the woman you are now knows the difference between a spark and a strategy. Between someone checking in and someone stepping up. Between a man who's curious and a man who's committed. The mistake so many women make is trying to explain their growth, justify their strength, or test him to see if he notices the change. But the reality is, your evolution speaks for itself. If he's paying attention, he'll see it in the calm in your tone, the pause in your response, the way you don't bend over backward to please someone who left without regard. You don't have to be loud. You just have to be clear. You don't have to play games. You just have to know your value. And when you carry yourself like a woman who has learned how to be whole on her own, you become magnetic, not because you're trying to pull him back, but because you've stopped trying at all. He may say things like, "You've changed," hoping to pull you into guilt or nostalgia. But yes, you have changed. You've changed into someone who no longer confuses emotional history with emotional health. You've changed into someone who understands that the past may have shaped you, but it no longer controls you. Let him feel the weight of that shift. Let him feel what it means to approach a woman who's not trying to be chosen anymore, because she's already chosen herself. You are not cold. You are not bitter. You are clear, and clarity is power if he has grown too, if he returns with humility, respect, and consistent action. Then let him discover you again, slowly, carefully, at your pace. Let him earn the new seat at your table, not as a recycled character in the old story, but as a potential co-author in a new chapter. But if he's just visiting out of boredom, loneliness, or a bruised ego, let him walk away with the realization that the woman he lost is now a woman he can't simply access. You're not here to relive the past. You're here to build a future that honors your growth. And that means only allowing space for people who rise to meet your new standard. So when he reaches out, remember this. You don't owe him the old version of you. You don't owe him the comfort of familiarity. You owe yourself the commitment to never go back to a place that cost you your peace. Let your transformation do the talking. Let your energy hold the boundary. Let your silence say what your old self used to explain. Because the woman he once left behind, she's gone, and the woman who stands in her place. She no longer accepts anything less than everything she deserves. When he reaches out after disappearing, it's easy to believe that it means something real, that he's ready, that he finally woke up and realized what he lost. But here's the truth that too many women ignore. A man's curiosity is not the same as his commitment. He might text, "Hey, I miss you." He might call out of nowhere, asking how you've been. He might say things that sound deep, emotional, even romantic. And your heart wants to believe it's genuine, but curiosity is often just an emotional check-in, a moment of weakness, a flicker of nostalgia. It's him wondering if the door is still open, not necessarily because he wants to walk through it, but because he wants to know he still can. The mistake many women make is they respond to curiosity with commitment. They emotionally invest in something that hasn't been earned. They hear "I miss you" and translate it to "I want you back for real." They feel flattered by his attention and forget to ask, but what is he really offering? Just because a man thinks about you doesn't mean he's ready for you. Just because he misses the idea of you doesn't mean he's willing to do the work to have you. Curiosity makes him ask what you're up to. Commitment makes him plan a future with you, and if you don't know the difference, you will end up caught in a loop, a cycle of emotional highs followed by crashing disappointments. You don't owe anyone emotional access just because they miss you. You don't have to reply right away just because they reached out. You don't have to step back into something just because someone's checking if you still feel something. Curiosity is not love, it's not growth. And it's not a sign that you're meant to be together. It's often just ego. He wonders if you've moved on. He wonders if someone else has your attention. He wonders if, despite everything, you'd still pick him. But here's the thing, you're not an option. You're not a memory to revisit when he's bored. You're not a feel. Good hit to soothe his guilt. You are a woman who has grown. You are a woman who now knows how to guard her energy. You are a woman who has learned that access to your heart must be earned, not assumed. So how do you respond when curiosity comes knocking? You pause, you don't rush, you don't jump to conclusions or assign meaning to meaningless words. Instead, you observe, you assess, you ask yourself, is this man showing up for real, or is he just scratching an itch? Commitment comes with clear intention. It's not hidden behind vague messages. It's not inconsistent. It doesn't disappear when you ask real questions or express your needs. A man who is committed is consistent. He makes plans, he communicates, he works through discomfort instead of avoiding it. He apologizes where he failed. He doesn't just want access, he wants alignment. If he's truly coming back to build something new, it won't feel like guessing. It won't feel like chasing. It won't feel like you're walking on eggshells. It will feel safe, steady, and emotionally secure. But if it feels confusing, if it feels unclear, if you feel anxious waiting on replies or explanations, you're not dealing with commitment. You're dealing with curiosity. And you need to walk away. You don't owe it to him to explain why you're distant. You don't owe it to him to prove how much you've grown. You owe it to yourself to stay grounded in your standard. Don't let flattery fool you. Don't let nostalgia trick you. Don't let a few words reopen a door that was closed for a reason. Let his effort do the talking. Let his follow-through reveal his true intention. And until he shows up with a clear heart, a consistent plan, and a committed mind. Hold the line. Because your heart isn't something he can casually knock on when he's lonely. It's a home he needs to earn his way back into brick by brick, action by action, day by day. So the next time he shows up with, "Hey, I was just thinking about you," don't rush to believe it means something deep. Don't confuse a spark with a strategy. Don't assume that curiosity equals commitment. Let him feel that you're not available for games anymore. Let him know that your worth is no longer up for debate. Let him meet the woman who no longer needs to be chosen, because she chooses herself every single time. And that, more than anything, is what separates a hive, you woman, from one who lives in someone else's uncertainty. Races, your mind replays old memories. You feel tempted to pick up the phone, reply right away, or let him back into your emotional space just like before. But here's a truth most women overlook. The pause is your power. It is in that moment of restraint that you begin to rewrite your story, because the version of you that used to rush in, over-explain, hope, or prove something, that version acted from fear, fear of losing him, fear of missing the moment, fear that this time might be different. But now, your power lies in not reacting emotionally. Your power lies in pausing long enough to see clearly. When you pause, you create space. Space for truth to rise. Space to evaluate his intentions without being clouded by your own emotional history. Space to ask yourself, what do I want, and is he capable of giving that to me? You don't have to reply just because he sent a message. You don't have to validate his curiosity. You don't have to open the door again just because someone knocked. That pause, the silence between his outreach and your reaction, is not emptiness, it's strength. It's self-worth in motion. It's you saying, my peace is more important than someone else's timing. You see, when he disappeared, you had to pick up your own pieces. You had to sit with the heartbreak, the questions, the disappointment. You had to rebuild. That journey mattered. It wasn't easy and it wasn't instant, but it made you wiser. It made you softer in some ways, stronger in others. So now, when he returns, your silence is not indifference. It's wisdom. It's not bitterness. It's boundaries. It's not revenge, it's clarity. Because if he's reaching out for real, with genuine intent to reconnect, grow, and rebuild something meaningful, he will not be scared off by your stillness. He will lean in, he will be patient. He will understand that someone who's been through pain doesn't respond with blind hope. They respond with careful discernment. The pause isn't just about waiting, it's about watching. What does he do when you don't react instantly? Does he follow up? Does he clarify? Does he make a real effort, or does he retreat because the easy access is gone? A man who is truly ready for you will not be discouraged by your silence. He will be drawn to it because he'll see it for what it is, the sign of a woman who knows her value and refuses to be rushed. We live in a world of immediacy. Everything is urgent. Everything demands a quick reply. But relationships, real ones, are built in the slow spaces. They are tested in the quiet. They are revealed in the pause. When you pause, you give yourself time to hear the voice inside you that says, "Do I feel safe again? Is this message for me or for his ego? Am I responding because I want to or because I used to?" The old you might have felt anxious in silence. The evolved you finds peace there, because she has nothing to prove. Let him sit with your silence. Let him wonder what version of you he's going to meet. Let him feel the weight of your new standard. And if he really wants a place in your life, he'll show you more than words. He'll show consistency. He'll show humility. He'll show patience. And he'll respect your timing. Pausing doesn't mean playing games. It means choosing yourself first, because your life is not a waiting room for men who left confused. Your heart is not a convenience store that stays open all hours for emotional wanderers. Your love is not something handed out to anyone who stirs old feelings. You are a woman who has fought for her peace. You've climbed out of emotional chaos. You've stood alone in moments that tried to break you. So when he comes back, your first instinct shouldn't be, what does he feel? It should be, does this still align with the woman I've become? And if you're unsure, pause again. There is no rush, because the right man will never need you to betray your calm just to keep him interested. He will meet you where you are, not where you were. In the end, it's not about ignoring him forever. It's about not betraying yourself for the sake of a moment. The pause is powerful because it puts the decision back in your hands, because it reminds him, and you, that access to you is earned, not assumed. And because it says something no words ever could. I'm not here to be re-entered. I'm here to be respected. Let the pause do the talking. When a man finally reaches out after silence, after distance, after leaving you with more questions than answers, it can feel like a moment of hope, a flicker of something you thought was lost. But here's where the story usually takes a sharp turn. Many women, the moment they hear from him, lower their standard. They shrink their boundaries. They slip back into old dynamics. They mistake his return as proof that he's ready for something more. But just because he reached out doesn't mean he's ready. And more importantly, just because he reached out doesn't mean you're obligated to respond the same way you used to. This time, let your standards speak for you. The version of you that once tolerated inconsistency, mixed signals, emotional crumbs. That version is gone. This new chapter isn't about proving your worth to someone who left. It's about protecting the peace you built in his absence. It's easy to believe that his return is a sign from the universe. But sometimes it's just a test to see if you really meant what you said when you said, I deserve better. A test to see if your boundaries were temporary or a permanent part of your self-worth. And this is the moment where many women fall into the one big mistake. They reward the return without evidence of change. Don't do that. Don't reward effort that hasn't been shown. Don't accept energy that hasn't been rebuilt. Don't offer your heart just because someone came back to see if the door was still open. Let your standard do the work. That means you don't chase. You don't explain your silence. You don't rush to fill in the gaps with hope or fantasy. You simply exist in your truth. If he is truly serious this time, he'll rise to meet it. He'll feel the shift in your tone. He'll see the difference in your pace. He'll notice that the woman he left is not the woman standing in front of him now. Let him feel the distance between who you were and who you've become. Not because you want to punish him, but because you refuse to participate in anything that doesn't reflect the love, effort, and consistency you now demand. There's a power in stillness. There's strength in not jumping. There's clarity in watching what he does without giving him the emotional shortcut of your immediate forgiveness. Your standard is the silent message that says, I'm not moved by words. I'm moved by consistency. I'm not drawn in by nostalgia. I'm drawn in by respect. I don't respond to pressure. I respond to peace. When he reaches out, he may come with stories. He may say he's changed. He may promise he sees things differently now. But words are only the beginning. The real proof is in the follow-through. Does he show up consistently, even when it's uncomfortable? Does he apologize without making excuses? Does he make space for your boundaries, not argue against them? Does he talk about the future in ways that align with your values? Or is he just testing the waters, hoping you'll be emotionally available without having to actually grow? Let him show you, and while he does, stay in your power. That doesn't mean you have to be cold. It means you remain anchored. You don't lower your standard just because someone wants another chance. You let the standard filter out who's real and who's just remembering you fondly. The version of you that forgives too quickly, that lets love override truth, that waits while he figures it out. That version may have loved deeply, but she also hurt deeply. and your new chapter cannot be built on her broken pieces. So now your standard becomes your shield. It's not about being unapproachable. It's about being undeniable in your clarity. It's about honoring yourself so deeply that only the people who are serious about your heart stay in your life. And here's the truth. Some men will walk away again when they see that they can't access the old version of you. Let them. If someone can't meet your standard, that's not rejection. It's redirection. You're not here to prove that you're lovable. You're here to be loved the way you deserve, without having to lose parts of yourself in the process. Let your standard do the heavy lifting. Let it speak before your words do. Let it protect the version of you that had to fight to become this grounded, this whole, this self-aware. When he reaches out, don't ask, does he want me? Ask, does this align with the woman I am now? Because this isn't about getting him back. It's about not losing yourself again in the process. You've evolved. You've healed. You've risen. Now, let your standard be the filter. Let it keep the noise out. Let it guard your peace. And let it be the one voice that always leads you home, to yourself.